and welcome to our final episode here on our Limitless TV, all about sex and relationships. My name's Nadine and I've been hosting us throughout this series together with my incredible friends who've joined me on this panel. Episode, we're going to play a game of Guess the Image. Now, a big clue, they are all food related, so they're all a picture of some food item but have been zoomed in dramatically, and so we're going to see who can guess what the actual food is. Feel free to pause the video and try and guess yourselves before we reveal the answer. So the first picture is this.
Oh, whatever it is, that's gross. Is it obvious? Is it like mushrooms?
Oh, it's not mushrooms.
Is it?
Don't know why that would be obvious.
It doesn't really look like it, but I'm just going on colour. Really, is it pineapple?
It's not pineapple, but I see the colour. I'll give that to you.
Is it orange? Kind of citrus fruit?
No.
No.
It's not orange. Or a citrus fruit.
Oh, okay. Good category. White out.
Is it a crisp?
That's what I thought when I first looked at it. It's not a crisp. Any final thoughts?
Is it like a spice? Like a flake? A chili flake?
Oh, it's not a chili flake. Final guess before the big reveal.
No idea.
Big dramatic reveal.
No, puts out our misery.
It is the seeds inside a pepper. It zoomed into the seeds.
So good.
Everyone's favourite part of the pepper. Okay,
What,
image.
the seeds? I ate them. They're all over my fridge drawer. Annoying.
Okay, image number 2 is this. What do you guys think
Hash
this
browns.
food item is? Oh, it's not hash brown.
Oh.
It's an excited reaction to
Honeycomb.
It's not honeycomb.
Sourdough bread.
Oh, it's not sourdough bread.
It's
I can
crisps.
see where you're coming from. It's not crisps, but it is a crunchy food.
Is it cereal?
Oh, point if you can guess which cereal.
Frosties. Cornflakes.
Oh,
Crunchy nut
Sophie's got it.
cornflakes.
Okay, it's just cornflakes. It is some cornflakes. Okay, final picture. Are we ready?
Yeah.
What is this?
Oh.
Honeycomb.
It's not
A hot dog
Wait,
bun.
It's not, but I see where you're coming from with that. That was,
Oh, no.
I've got no idea.
they are very zoomed in. You've
It's a
gotta-
bread. It's a
Can you give us
hoagie.
a clue?
You don't like this food.
Pasta.
Oh! It is time to tell it. Well, let us know if you guessed those right. Now we're going to jump into our content for our final episode, all about sexting. We're going to talk all about sexting. According to the Urban Dictionary, sexting is a very crude way to get your partner or yourself sexually aroused, typically done through explicit texts or suggestive photos, at times even nudes. According to the most recent report that's come out from Ofsted, 9 out of 10 people say that they or a friend have been sent an explicit image that they didn't want to see. Sexting is unfortunately all over our world, whether we want it or whether we don't, it is everywhere. So we want to have a little look, what does the Bible say about sexting? Well, in Proverbs 23 verse 7 it says this, "For as he thinks in his heart, so is he." In Matthew 5:27 it says this, "You have heard that it was said, you shall not commit adultery. But I tell you that anyone who looks at a woman lustfully has already committed adultery with her in his heart. If your right eye causes you to stumble, gouge it out and throw it away. It is better for you to lose one part of your body than for your whole body to be thrown into hell. And if your right hand causes you to stumble, cut it off and throw it away. It is better for you to lose one part of your body than for your whole body to go into hell. Although the Bible doesn't explicitly talk about sexting, it has a lot to say about your heart. You see, we have to check what our heart is full of, because where your heart goes, you go. Your heart will reflect what you are thinking about, what you're consumed with, what is taking up your desires, what is priority in your life will all be reflected in your heart. And your life is not determined by your head. Your life is determined by your heart. Your heart will impact the decisions you make. Your heart will impact the people you get around. Your heart will impact the habits you create. Your heart will impact the future you have. And that's why the Bible is so strong on telling us to guard our heart. Protect your heart. You've only got one, and there's only you that can protect it. No one else is going to do it for you. You have to protect your heart. You have to guard it. So how do we know what our heart is full of? Well, in the Bible it tells us that the mouth speaks what the heart is full of. The mouth speaks what the heart is full of, but not just the words that we use physically and verbally, but what texts are we sending? What words are we using when we talk on social media? What words are we using when we are talking to a friend, when we're talking to our boyfriend, our girlfriend? What words are coming up? Because when we look through our text, we'll see what our heart is full of. We'll see whether our heart is full of lust or whether it's full of love. We'll find out whether it's full of comparison or security. Your texts and what you speak will show you and will reveal to you what your heart is full of. You see, often when we have a physical problem or something that shows up on the outside, it's actually just a reflection of something that's going on the inside. We have at our house, we've had an issue with our Wi-Fi recently. It went down and we all tried to do something with it. We tried to fix it. We tried to do the generic turn it off, turn it back on, and we tried, and we knew it wasn't working because our laptops and our phones weren't connected. We could see the problem, but the issue was in the settings. So we needed someone to come in and check the settings. And so today I want to ask you, what are the settings of your life? Maybe you're sexting, maybe your words that you're using over text aren't that appropriate, maybe what you're seeing is reflected of your heart isn't where you want it to be, but we have to go into our internal settings of our heart and change our settings. In John 8:31-32 it says this: "If you hold to my teaching, you are really my disciples. Then you will know the truth, and the truth will set you free." You can only be set free by the truth that you know. When you know the truth, that truth can then set you free. But so many of us are leading to a spiritual heart attack because we're not taking that chance to go back and check our settings, to go into the Bible, to talk to Jesus and to find out what is the truth that I need to set myself on. You see, because when we have a heart full of God, everything we do will flow from it. We will automatically align our relationships. We will automatically align our texting. We will automatically align our whole life around what we believe. And so I'm going to ask some of my friends now to help contribute to this conversation and see if we can together unpack some big questions. So Gareth, just starting practically from a practical point of view, is sexting safe?
Yeah, well, good question. I mean, first things first, and some young people may not know this, it may seem like really serious, but sexting is a criminal offence. It says here it's a criminal offence to create or share explicit images of a child, even if the person doing so is a child. In England and Wales, the Protection of Children Act 1978 makes it an offence to take, make, show, distribute, possess, with a view to distribute, or even publish an advertisement with an indecent photograph or pseudo-photograph of a child.
Wow.
And so there's actually it's black and white that even engaging in sexting is at risk of a criminal offence, of even prosecution to some extent, of it going into really severe ramifications for not only the person but other people involved, for everyone around, and ultimately that is going to have a hindrance on whether it's employment or whether it is just things like trying to rent a property or basic things that we think about. It is really
And
clear
just
in that
very
way.
quickly, it's just worth adding to that as well, that even though the age of consent is 16, it's still a criminal offence to distribute an image, an explicit image of anybody under the age of 18. So even if you're 16 or 17 years old, if you're sending and receiving these images, that's still a criminal offence, and you could end up on the sex offenders list as well.
Wow. And then I think secondly, as far as is it safe, the standout danger for me is that there is just a total loss of control when you're sexting. There's no way to kind of wing it. It's not like, oh no, I trust the person. Like, no, you're sending an image, that's an imprint, and it is off in the internet. It's literally like throwing a pebble into an ocean and being like, I've still got that pebble in my back pocket. It's not a thing. Like, it is out there. It is available for people to airdrop to each other, to be accessed in different ways through the mysterious cloud, but it is a thing. And so the sense of having any control over these images is really startling. Like, that is not a thing, and for me that's quite frightening that that's a reality young people will face.
Wow, that's
There's a connection as well between abuse and sexting. So one stat is that young people who reported violence and abuse in their relationships were twice as likely to have sent a sexual image or text compared to those who were not. And of course, you know, as Gareth alluded to there, that we make ourselves vulnerable to blackmail and to bullying as well, because and we've seen a whole rise in convictions and laws relating to revenge porn, where somebody kind of holds you to ransom over an image you've sent them after a breakup. Well, if you don't send me another one, I will share this image, or if you don't do this, or if you don't do that, I will post that image to wherever it is. And so really scary stuff and really unsafe.
Wow, well, that's really interesting to talk about, because we want to make sure that first of all you're equipped with being safe, but also we want to look at the spiritual aspects of it. So Amy, is sexting a sin?
It's a hard question to answer. Technically, yes, in certain aspects. So I'm just going to read from James. So it says, James chapter 1, verses 14 and 15. But each person is tempted when they are dragged away by their own evil desire and enticed. Then, after desire has conceived, it gives birth to sin. And sin, when it is fully grown, it gives birth to death. Now, it might not technically be on the surface sin, but it is a breeding ground. That's what we have to look at. We are in a breeding ground, and so therefore you will guarantee fall into sin. So we can go as far to say that sexting is sin, because I'd be really impressed if young people out there can do sexting and be like, stopping it there. I can kind of do it, I can tap in and out. You're in that, you're giving into your evil desires, you're going to slip, it's going to lead to death, you're going to get to that point. So I would go as far to say, sexting is sin. That's
really good, that's really helpful. And so Tim, do you think there's a difference between sexting and sex?
Yeah, well, sex as God created it, between one man and one woman in marriage, that's what he created it for. It is all about intimacy. So when Jesus said, for this reason, a man will leave his father and mother and be united with his wife, and the two will become one flesh. The Greek word used there for, like our New Testaments that we have in English, that we hold in our Bibles, we read them in English, but they weren't originally written in English, they're written in Greek. And the Greek word there is the word koallō. And kollao, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, that literally translated means glued. Bible translators talk about it having this inference of being intimately connected in a soul knit. So when you read it like that, for this reason a man will leave his father and mother and be intimately connected in a soul knit with his wife. So sex is about intimacy. It's a physical union, yes, but it's also an emotional union. It's a spiritual union. That's what sex is. It's about intimacy. Sexting, on the other hand, is about titillation, stimulation, and let's face it, masturbation. So where sex in its purest form as God created it is about selfless intimacy, sexting is about selfish satisfaction.
Yeah.
And that's where it's, worlds apart.
Yeah, that's really helpful. Throughout this whole series, we hope that you've helped to understand how you can win at your relationships. And we're aware that a lot of these topics will be personal, a lot of these topics will be areas that you might be struggling with and trying to work on. And so we want to really encourage you to keep these conversations going. We're going to pass over now so that you can answer these questions for yourself and talk through some of these big questions that you might have experienced yourself or are going on in your friendship groups or at school. We would love to encourage you to share this series with your friends, share it with people around you to help them also learn how they can win at relationships.